Ready to go, robots! 3, 2, 1, rumble!
Test 1, 2, 3.
Today we're at Robot Rumble, where we have probably about 50 robots from, I believe it's about 14, 15 different high schools here, all competing. There was about 300 kids here as well, and kids design robots for a few months, then they come out here to battle them together.
I think there's four or five major robots. So there's a pneumatic flipper, then there's a horizontal or vertical spinner, which is just a piece of metal that spins really fast. Or there's a pusher, or there's a drum. Fast metal, or you flip people.
My favorite part is the competition day. Here, it doesn't matter if you spend like $1,000 on your robot or $3,000. Anything can go wrong. Like right now, we just lost. Our batteries came off, and we lost the whole round because of that. But you know, we get that. We're gonna put it better, and we're gonna win the next one.
So even though the competition's only 2 days, there's probably about 4 or 5 months of a building process that goes into it. And we manufacture everything ourselves. So we cut all the metal, all the polycarb, whatever else, do all the electronics. It's pretty labor intensive, but at the end you learn a lot and it's really fun.
So when I began, I didn't know how to use any power tools. I didn't know how to use any of the machines there. But now I know a lot more than from what I knew in the beginning. I think even if you think it might not be for you, give it a shot. Just go in for a couple meetings and see if you like it or not.
Spatula, drive it footlong into the corner.
My hope is that along with robotics, from what I learned and what I can use for future applications, it can help me get into a good school and get a good education.
I think my favorite part is really the beginning of robots and just seeing all the kids' excitement, and they're just so jacked to be here, and you know, seeing all their hard work come to fruition.
Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. I've had fantastic teachers throughout my entire education career, which kind of just persuaded me to become a teacher. I feel like the support throughout all the schools I've been at has been fantastic and just led me to where I am now, especially with being a culinary teacher. I always loved to bake and cook, and it took, you know, my passions and then me also wanting to work with kids and combined it into two, and it's just been fantastic.
Someone get the chocolate chips measure. You can add a little bit more if you would like.
Growing up, I went to Prospect. Coming back here has been fantastic. I feel all the support from everyone in the building, students and staff overall. It's just been great. It's been a great experience, especially being so young.
10 seconds, turn it off, and then scrape it down. 10 seconds? Yeah, because you don't want to overmix it.
Being a culinary teacher is so fun. The kids are so lively. It's a very unique experience, obviously, because the kids are always up and moving. The kids cook every day. I think it's a nice break too for them, because obviously they're not sitting down for the full 80 minutes. They're up doing things. They're learning life skills. So I switched my major during my college years. I switched from elementary ed to secondary ed. Dual credit allowed me to do that. I did multiple dual credit classes in high school throughout a whole range of different things. They helped a ton. They saved me a bunch of time and money. If I didn't have those dual credit classes, I would still be in college right now rather than teaching, because I would have been in college an extra year. But the dual credit classes saved me, and in the long run, they helped me so much and helped me jumpstart my career.
Oh yeah.
I encourage all students to take any of these dual credit classes or internships, because they helped me so much and helped me fulfill my career dreams, and I hope that it will do the same for all the students.
That's good.
And away we go! This school year in our advanced diagnostics and our vocational class, we're going to be building this electric car from the Switch EV. And students are really excited about this, and it's going to be a great learning opportunity for them.
You want it under this? Oh, it's out.
I think over.
Putting this car together was so cool because it's just a great learning experience, and you're able to be a hands-on building a car from scratch, basically, just a frame. And now you're seeing more electric cars on the road today, and so It's a good skill to know, good skill to have. You can fix your own car, don't have to pay so much.
Mike K did all the wiring with Isaac, and a couple other students did help as well, and they knocked it out of the park. They really did. I'm blown away. I really am with what they accomplished.
My part, I did most of the electrical work, just like putting all the components together, hooking all the wires up, cable management, make it all look nice. My dad taught me a little bit. Most of it just kind of like from experience, just watching videos online about electronics, making my own projects.
Through this project, it's helping me become a better engineer because I'll understand the systems and you get to see all the flaws in this. Like they put powder coat on the holes and then you had to tap them out. So it's helping me in an engineering design process, whereas it's more testing and prototyping to get the right result. It doesn't just come the first time. It takes time and effort. And I would say I have a better understanding of the components that go into an entire mechanical system.
Since I like electronics as much, I made something for the holiday season. This year I made it's like a controller. It's like 24 outputs, so you can plug in 24 separate channels, like sets of lights into them, and they chase around, they flash in different ways. So I won an award this year from the city of Elk Grove Village. Quite the accomplishment to have won an award from its entirety of Elk Grove Village, which is even more impressive. Out of like 30,000 something people, I won the award.
And away we go! So now that the car's built, our next step is going to be working in the textbook, working on lab activities, and getting the students to actually do some hands-on learning with this vehicle. Our first visit is going to be to Mr. Burrett here, the gentleman who made this happen.
Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Good. Are you in your office?
No.
Oh, okay. No, I'm in the electric car right outside your office here in the window. Well, we try to pay a visit to Mr. Burrett and Mr. Kelly, but they're out at a meeting right now. It actually rides really nice. It really does. Acceleration is good. The handling's good. It's going to be interesting when the students get to drive it. It'll be their first vehicle they have driven without power steering. Let's see how really good the suspension is. All right.
Mr. Z is great teacher, great guy. And thank you to D214 for sponsoring this.
I'm very grateful to have Mr. Z as my autos teacher. He's always cooperative, even when I'm not the best student. He's always cooperative. I'm just thankful for all that he does for us and being an awesome teacher in general.
I am super proud of the kids and what they have accomplished. This learning opportunity, it really is amazing. What I'm really excited for is the memories that we've made for these students. They're going to never forget this project the rest of their life.
Welcome to the Student Services area of our school that's going to be under construction for the next 4 to 5 months. So this whole area will be redone and gutted kind of from the inside out. I'm Katie. Katie's a sophomore here at Elk Grove, is in our media pathway and will be shadowing and helping us documenting this process. So this mailroom, this is an original space where we used to have the copier as well as where teachers got their mail every day. We have now redistributed mail and this will no longer be here. In the future be our health services area that will have 2 offices for our nurses as well as 4 beds, a large waiting area, exam room, and to ensure that all of our students are served and supported when they're not feeling well. So moving on, we're going to be going into currently what's our security attendance DHSSW area, also known as Deans. So this is where your student would check in if they were either late or leaving for the day to check attendance. This is also where the deans are. If you've had any interactions with student behavior, this is where they would go. This area will be very similar to what it feels like now. The deans will still be here, but this will be different as it is going to be part of the health services area and going to be a kitchenette for staff. Here's a relic from the past, this big, large vault that I think all the schools have. This is no longer going to be here. It's currently kind of a large storage area, but we're going to be taking this vault out. Moving on, we have some other offices that we're going to be passing by. These will be become the registrar, the master scheduler, and then the associate principal of student services. So if you need to register or get a transcript, this is the area that you will be coming to. On this side, this is going to be, currently this is the College and Career Center. This is going to be reimagined into a much different type look and feel. It's going to anchor this area, and it's going to be an all glass room that's really going to be able to serve our students in many different ways, whether it's visiting a college, investigating a career, or even having a large group meeting. That'll be like where we're standing right now. From here on out, this is where all of our counselors and support staff work. This will look and feel very different. The offices will be moved to this side of the space, and this wall will be all glass with entrances into the courtyard. It feels very dark and closed in, so we want to ensure that it doesn't feel that way anymore, and we can have lots of bright light and a really soothing and therapeutic environment for students and staff. All of our counselors will be organized in a different way now. It's organized in the pod style, so they're grouped by 2 counselors and 2 related service for each of the grade levels. So we'll have a freshman pod that's going to be grouped together, sophomore, juniors, seniors. So their offices will be all together. And so that's what this whole area will be those different groups of pods along with a small meeting room for those offices to use. And then we're finally entering the end of the hallway and going into the former health services office. This will now be offices for the freshman pod. This will look and feel totally different. We're also excited to improve this entrance to our school. So this will, I hope, match the foyer of door 1 and have a little more grandiose feel and welcome. It'll showcase our students and our staff and the things that we value here at Elk Grove High School.
Kick by Robbie Gold, end over end to the uprights, and it's goal!
Like, as a kicker, it's awesome to think about him as a coach, and now that it's really happening, I'm really excited.
Kick was down the middle and good! 49ers win it! Man, that feels good!
Seeing someone that played in the NFL and is now going to be our coach just made me feel inspired.
Kick on the way, down the middle, and Gold is good at the buzzer!
Robbie Gold here, your new head football coach at Rolling Meadows High School. I'm super excited because I got a chance to meet the staff and the kids and the school community leaders. I'm looking forward just to be able to get in the building and start working with the coaches and the players and the school community.
Some of the Mustangs, guys.
This is the field.
Get this place rocking.
Everybody at Rolling Meadows, it's just a lot of kind of starstruckness, but I think people have kind of settled into it a little bit, and I think everyone's just really excited and really hopeful for what the team is going to be able to do next year.
Oh my days, is unbelievable. Kind of like a dream come true. I didn't really believe this was going to happen. You know, I thought it was like just rumors and get like some other coach, but no, this is really a really cool experience.
I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to give back in the way that coaches did for me to get to where I was able to have a lot of fun playing sports. And to me, I can't see myself in a way where I can't be able to do that here for these kids. And then if you turn on the film for these kids, one thing you're going to notice is they have a lot of grit. They have a lot of physicality. They love and have a passion for football. And when you see that, that should get you excited about a program like Rolling Meadows.
The reason why I'm here is because, you know, ever since I was little, I started doing construction. You know, that's what I want to do. That's my future, the career path I want to take. Probably end up going to roofing trade school. What I really like about construction is seeing the finished product. It looks very nice, and it's all worth it once, you know, you see it all come together.
Through the apprenticeship program, we actually offered some work over the early summer on this house. We had a handful of apprentices join us and work on the laundry room and the front porch. Oscar was one of those apprentices who joined us, and the work ethic he showed and the skill he's shown in last year in PAC and that summer opportunity really made us want to bring him on the site kind of to help run crews, you know, especially as the walls go up. So it's great to be able to, you know, empower him to be in charge of other students, and he's been a great help to us here on the site to keep things moving along.
So today I was tackling the bathroom. Mr. J told me that we needed to get it done ASAP, so we're getting it done ASAP. As you could see, my apprenticeship at Forest View, it was mostly finished carpentry, a little bit more of drywall too, and then some days I actually got to go do roofing with the roofer over there. Great guys, great people overall, and some of the stuff that I learned while doing the apprenticeship is mostly how to do stuff and leave it as perfect as you can. I'm really glad to be part of this apprenticeship because it helps me reaffirm my future, and I'm really glad to be here. Thanks to everybody in the apprenticeship program and the Pack House program that has been helping me reaffirm my future.
We're ready to go, robots! 3, 2, 1, rumble!
Today we're at Robot Rumble, where we have probably about 50 robots from, I believe it's about 14, 15 different high schools here, all competing. There was about 300 kids here as well, and kids design robots for a few months, then they come out here to battle them together.
I think there's four or five major robots. So there's a pneumatic flipper, then there's a horizontal or vertical spinner, which is just a piece of metal that spins really fast. Or there's a pusher, or there's a drum. Fast metal, or you flip people.
My favorite part is the competition day. Here, it doesn't matter if you spend like $1,000 on your robot or $3,000. Anything can go wrong. Like right now, we just lost. Our batteries came off, and we lost the whole round because of that. But we get that. We're gonna put it better, and we're gonna win the next one.
So even though the competition's only 2 days, there's probably about 4 or 5 months of a building process that goes into it. And we manufacture everything ourselves. So we cut all the metal, all the polycarb, whatever else, do all the electronics. It's pretty labor intensive, but at the end you learn a lot and it's really fun.
So when I began, I didn't know how to use any power tools. I didn't know how to use any of the machines there. But now I know a lot more than from what I knew in the beginning. I think even if you think it might not be for you, give it a shot. Just go in for a couple meetings and see if you like it or not.
Spatula driving footlong into the corner.
My hope is that along with robotics, from what I learned and what I can use for future applications, it can help me get into a good school and get a good education.
I think my favorite part is really the beginning of robots and just seeing all the kids' excitement, and they're just so jacked to be here, and seeing all their hard work come to fruition.
Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. I've had fantastic teachers throughout my entire education career, which kind of just persuaded me to become a teacher. I feel like the support throughout all the schools I've been at has been fantastic and just led me to where I am now, especially with being a culinary teacher. I always loved to bake and cook, and it took, my passions and then me also wanting to work with kids and combined it into two, and it's just been fantastic.
Someone did the chocolate chip measure. You can add a little bit more if you would like.
Growing up, I went to Prospect. Coming back here has been fantastic. I feel all the support from everyone in the building, students and staff overall. It's just been great. It's been a great experience, especially being so young. 10 seconds, turn it off, and then scrape it down. 10 seconds? Yeah, because you don't want to overmix it. Being a culinary teacher is so fun. The kids are so lively. It's a very unique experience, obviously, because the kids are always up and moving. The kids cook every day. I think it's a nice break too for them because obviously they're not sitting down for the full 80 minutes. They're up doing things. They're learning life skills. So I switched my major during my college years. I switched from elementary ed to secondary ed. Dual credit allowed me to do that. I did multiple dual credit classes in high school throughout a whole range of different things. They helped a ton. They saved me a bunch of time and money. If I didn't have those dual credit classes, I would still be in college right now rather than teaching because I would have been in college an extra year. But the dual credit classes saved me, and in the long run, they helped me so much and helped me jumpstart my career.
Oh yeah.
I encourage all students to take any of these dual credit classes or internships because they helped me so much and helped me fulfill my career dreams, and I hope that
Okay, thank you. I'd like to call to order the business meeting of Township High School District 214 for Thursday, June 13th, 2024. Secretary, please call the roll.
Dustling.
Here.
Fiorito.
Here.
Heineman.
Present.
Palmer.
here.
Rock. Here. Walker. And Kreutzer.
Present. Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have a quorum, 6-0.
Stand if you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve? Oh, we have an addition to the agenda, don't we? We have a discussion item under Human Resources. So we are adding 9.3.2, and it's just a discussion item from Human Resources. Can I have a approval for the agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call a roll.
Rauch. Aye. Fiorito.
Yes.
Dustling.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
So we have 3 sets of minutes, and we're going to take them separately. We have the minutes from the meeting of May 9th, open and closed session, May 9th, 2024. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Please call a roll.
Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer. Abstain. Rauch.
Abstain.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. 4-0-2.
Can I have a motion for the open and closed meeting minutes from May 13th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Please call a roll.
Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer. Abstain. Rauch. Abstain. And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0-2.
Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting of 5/24/2024, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Welk.
Aye.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Dustling.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye, thank you.
Motion carries 6-0.
We are now going to move to the Forest View Auditorium for board recognition, and we will be back in how many minutes? 30, you think? Okay, thank you.
Here we are. We finished the pack house. It's been a long journey, but we finally made it. Let me take you inside and show you around. You can see we've opened up the entire floor plan. Where we used to have 2 rooms and a fireplace, we've got 1 big open space. It flows right into a big open kitchen. So we've completely transformed the space. If you remember, there was a gas meter right next to the front door, a lovely addition for any home. The whole space was all chopped up into small rooms. We moved the nasty old bathroom from the center over into this little core area surrounding the stairs. In the original house, the kitchen was closed off from the rest of the living space. The trend now is to have that accessible to the rest of the living space so that you're not all hidden to do the dishes. We also moved the washer and dryer out from the kitchen and into their own mudroom. The original second floor layout was bizarre. We had a utility closet right in the center of the space that the hallway jogged around. A really nasty little tiny bathroom, also kind of center. Very small bedrooms, strangely placed. So what we did was turn this entire side of the second floor into a primary suite. So very generous bedroom. We've kind of have a nook which is over the pantry. Might be a good place for seating, or put your bed out here if you like getting the sunlight. Down a small hallway, a generously sized walk-in closet, and a custom bath. We put in a hall bathroom about the size of a bedroom. And then we have 2 very generously sized bedrooms off the side of the house with very large closets. Unfortunately, we had to remove the secret room that used to live above the stairs in order to open up that space and get some more light into the second floor. But I think we replaced it with more useful things. The kids did an amazing job with this house. It was amazing to see the transformation from fixer-upper to brand new family home. They did a great job with all the finish work and the remaining exterior work. It has great curb appeal, and they just did a wonderful job. We've got a new house over in Mount Prospect. We're gonna get going on it this June with our summer apprentices, and we're looking forward to starting again. Here we are. We've finished the pack house. It's been a long journey, but we finally made it. Let me take you inside and show you around. Here we are. We've finished the pack house. It's been a long journey, but we finally made it. Let me take you inside and show you around. You can see we've opened up the entire floor plan. Where we used to have 2 rooms and a fireplace, we've got one big open space. It flows right into a big open kitchen. So we've completely transformed the space. If you remember, there was a gas meter right next to the front door, a lovely addition for any home. The whole space was all chopped up into small rooms. We moved the nasty old bathroom from the center over into this little core area surrounding the stairs. In the original house, the kitchen was closed off from the rest of the living space. The trend now is to have that accessible to the rest of the living space so that you're not all hidden to do the dishes. We also moved the washer and dryer out from the kitchen and into their own mudroom. The original second floor layout was bizarre. We had a utility closet right in the center of the space that the hallway jogged around. A really nasty little tiny bathroom, also kind of center. Very small bedrooms, strangely placed. So what we did was turn this entire side of the second floor into a primary suite. So very generous bedroom. We've kind of have a nook, which is over the pantry. Might be a good place for seating, or put your bed out here if you like getting the sunlight. Down a small hallway, a generously sized walk-in closet, and a custom bath. We put in a hall bathroom about the size of a bedroom. And then we have 2 very generously sized bedrooms off the side of the house with very large closets. Unfortunately, we had to remove the secret room that used to live above the stairs in order to open up that space and get some more light into the second floor. But I think we replaced it with more useful things. The kids did an amazing job with this house. It was amazing to see the transformation from fixer-upper to brand new family home. They did a great job with all the finish work and the remaining exterior work. It has great curb appeal, and they just did a wonderful job. We've got a new house over in Mount Prospect. We're gonna get going on it this June with our summer apprentices, and we're looking forward to starting again.
It will do the same for all the students.
That's good.
Okay, are we back on? Okay, great, thank you, and thank you for your patience while we recognize several students tonight, and I appreciate your patience with this. So we are at a point in the agenda for public comments, and I do have two people that have signed up, and if you just let me read this, and then I'll call the first person. The Board of Education and the district value comments from the community and our meetings as well as emails. We appreciate everyone appearing before the board and treat all with courtesy and respect. The Board of Education asks each person please limit all their comments to 3 minutes. However, if several people want to address the board on similar topics, the board president may limit the time to 2 minutes per person. The public comments agenda item will be the only time that the Board of Education will hear public comments during the meeting. Although comments may be made on almost any matter related to the operation of schools, comments will not be allowed identifying individual students or staff members. As this is the Board of Education business meeting, the board practice is not to respond to public questions or comments at this time because this is not an open-ended forum. However, we do listen carefully. If requested, a written response will be provided. Please ensure that Ms. Keys has your full name and address on the sign-up sheet. To be fair and consistent to all addressing the board, the same protocols and procedures must be in place for everyone. The green light indicated your time has started, the yellow light indicates 30 seconds remaining, and the red light indicates 3 minutes have expired. So please come forward to the microphone, clearly state your name for the minutes. So the first person is Gertrude Rodick? Rodick? Okay. You can start, hon. You can start.
My name is Gertrude Rodig, and I've lived in Arlington Heights 74 years. Yes, I'm 101 years old, and I'm here tonight with Marcy Paddock, and we're very interested in getting the subject of destructive cults in our educational system, District 214. It is imperative that children know as they graduate from District 214 that they are safe when they go off to college. Without the information about destructive cults, they don't have a Chinaman's chance. The cults are there waiting, and especially the smarter they are, the easier they fall, because they are good listeners, or they wouldn't be so smart at school, District 214. We have 2 books that Marcy Paddock has donated to District 214 that will help you understand the very important issue that children should learn before they ever leave school. My son, Donald, was recruited in 1970 through the varsity tennis team. And the coach knew nothing about this group that came in and wanted to so-called protect the children for their future by learning more about Jesus Christ and God. And of course, that wasn't their real motive. However, they were given locker time after they were through with practice. And my son became involved, and deeper as he was programmed each Saturday evening. They needed a place to program their people, as well as having fun activities, which always attracts these teenagers. And so First Pres Church in Arlington Heights was approached. The pastor said, that sounds very good to have them have learning about Jesus Christ. And he has such a large congregation, he was too busy to ever investigate to see who actually was asking for it. When They were caught on a Saturday evening as the women were preparing the narthex for the next day's church program. The people in this group were destroying the narthex and destroying all the books, etc. So the women who came in to put the fresh flowers on the various vases said that if we can't tolerate this, you have to leave immediately. So their next place was the Arlington Heights Village, library, and they were meeting there weekly. So I heard about this, and so I appeared at the board of the library, and for legal reasons, they brought their attorney, and he was informed quite quickly, as well as the whole board, and they decided that they can only meet once a month. And so they had to find still another place. So they went to Windsor School. And after they were thrown out of there, I lost track. However, my son was in for 35 years, at which time he had a double heart attack, and one day he was told that if you get sick, you are not a believer in Jesus Christ. So they actually caused him 2 heart attacks, and he died in one day. So the idea is that information is the only way to learn about cults. And we have 2 books here tonight that are being donated by Marcy Paddock, and we're here to tell you the importance of being educated about the subject, and I hope it will be picked up at the high schools in District 214 so that we don't have any of our people welcomed as they usually are as they enter college. They are right there waiting for the newbies, and they promise them everything.
Gertrude, thank you for your comments. I think every board member has your handout. And I've read it, and I really appreciate the material.
What did she say?
Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
The next, thank you, Linda. The next speaker is Martin Bauer. Mr. Bauer, could you come forward, please? And the same protocols apply.
Good evening. My name's Martin Bauer. I'm a parent, 528 South Ridge. My son, who's actually here, goes to Rolling Meadows High School. He was just honored alongside a whole bunch of talented students. As Board Member Rauch, as you said, it takes talented teachers, it takes engaged parents, and it is the engaged parent part that I want to talk to you about today. We know that engaged parents is a strong predictor for student success. As such, I was disappointed when I read that District 214 got rid of parent-teacher conferences, or at least the organized portion. I recognize that this was requested by the teacher union. I recognize that the stats said that there were only 20% of parents who attended. However, I strongly believe that the proper answer should have been, teachers, let's work together to bring more parents into the conferences rather than kicking the 20% who came out. There were problems prior to that. For example, a few years back, I want to believe, I just looked on my phone, in 2020, out of 8 blocks, parents were allowed to only sign up for conferences for 3. Board Member Kreutzer, I can show you the information. The point is, I think there has been a number of years of implicit messaging that parent involvement is not desired, and that's the wrong message. So I would encourage you to go back and think about that. I recognize at this point parent-teacher conferences don't exist anymore. That said, you have rightfully pointed out that there are other means to contact teachers, other means for teachers to contact parents. I would ask you to encourage all teachers to make a concerted effort to reach out to parents. I would also ask you to please find a way to track this outreach, to track the number of parents that teachers actually reach out to and actually reach. Track that, improve on that year after year, report out to the community. It may just be a small portion of parents that this is very important to, but it is those parents that make a difference in the community and that make a difference in the success of the lives of their students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, the Board of Education will move on with the rest of the agenda. And up next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Rowe.
Thank you. As I was approaching the meeting this evening, I realized this, being June, is the culmination of my first year as superintendent District 214, and so it kind of caused me to reflect upon the year. June is a very busy month, wrapping up the school year. Beginning summer construction, we've got a lot going on across the district, but I still spend a little bit of time kind of reflecting on what we made it through this year, and I'm quite proud of everything that we've accomplished. To name a few things, the strategic plan is in motion. The first survey response rate is extremely high. I met with our partners today. They were raving about the level of engagement. Through that contract negotiations process, we lengthened the school day. Now will be aligned to state law next year, and negotiated a strong 5-year contract with our teachers. We shared earlier the capital improvement assessment with the needs for the district that will give us some direction in terms of that work over the next decade. And as we celebrate tonight, won a couple of state championships along the way, and had a Blue Ribbon School recognized in Washington, D.C. So those are only a few of the things, but they stand out as some of our fondest memories of the year. All in all, we had a really great school year, and I'm encouraged about our future. I believe it is very, very bright. Most importantly, what stood out, as I've said a few times, is the people. The people in District 214 are wonderful. They're incredibly engaged educators focused on our kids, and that may be the most encouraging thing, at least for me as a newcomer to the district, that is just, we're focused on the right things, and our students are a priority, which I'm very proud of. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe. Next on the agenda is board member updates. Mr. Dusling, would you like to start?
Sure. This week I attended a number of practice sessions for the musical that's going to be run this summer. It's going to be over at Wheeling Park District, Heritage Park Pavilion, 6:20 through 6:22 at 8 o'clock at night. I attended the choral practice and the dance practice was very good. This is the first year in summer camp we had a jazz improvisation camp. It was run by Vince Ginaldi from BG and Ron Furiotto from Elk Grove. Professional teachers were there. It was truly amazing in what they were doing. That was this week as well. It was a good week. Thank you.
How was graduation?
Pardon?
How was graduation?
Graduation was fine.
Where were you?
I was at Elk Grove. Said my words, did my thing, handed out the diplomas.
Okay, Mr.
I was
Dusling.
excited. It was very exciting. It's good, and the weather was great. And the planes at Elk Grove were not coming into O'Hare, which was even better.
Yeah, the mayor will say that he had it arranged.
Yeah.
Don't tell him I said that. Ms. Palmer.
I guess my only update is on the Rolling Meadows High School graduation. It was a beautiful night for graduation. I really appreciate that. The year prior, I don't know if you all recall, was extraordinarily cold. And so it was a lovely evening. I really think Rolling Meadows did a great job. The ceremony was terrific. The kids it's truly an honor to be at graduation with the kids and to just look at the excitement in their faces and the joy they have and their excitement for their future as it's, approaching them and hitting them right then and there. So I really enjoyed it. So that's about it.
Thank you. Mr. Heineman.
Had fun at the PAC open house, and wonderful that we've got that sold already. CMA Appreciation Day was fun at Wheeling. Rolling Meadows High School has a Olympic hopeful that's going to the Olympic trials in Indianapolis next week for the 100 and 200 backstroke. That is very iconic. There's also 2 Prospect High School alumni that are headed to track and field Olympic trials next week. And they are also hoping to go to Tokyo for the Olympics. End of my report.
Thank you. Ms. Rauch.
Yes. First of all, I'd like to do a committee update. We had the Parent-Teacher Discipline Advisory and the Behavioral Intervention Council meeting. It was held May 1st. It's a combination of 2 committees that the district has, and it is a state requirement that we meet at least once a year. So just a quick update on that. At the meeting, we reviewed the policy and procedures, any changes that were regarding student behavior. We also reviewed processes and procedures for behavioral interventions. I know some of that was covered at the last meeting that I was absent for, but I wanted to mention that the meeting was held. And I'd like to definitely send out a thank you to all our APSSs, our DHSSWs, otherwise known as our deans, and the parents who participated in that. It is additional time. It's a meeting in the evening. We all have busy schedules, but the dedication and commitment that they put forth and the preparation, I really appreciate. And I thought we had an excellent discussion, a lot of great activities and contributions from members in this district to help our students on the student services level. And developing the community so that these students feel safe, and that then develops into commitment for them in their academics. So thank you for that. Regarding graduation, I attended Buffalo Grove High School as a parent, so thank you, fellow board members, for taking the lead on the other schools. It was a great night. I enjoyed it very much. Definite celebration to see, as board member Palmer said, these students are looking at their future and all the opportunities, so we wish them much luck. The only other thing, I wanted to send a thank you out to Wheeling High School because they are housing some Buffalo Grove athletics this year, so thank you for that, housing staff and students, and hope everyone has a good summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fiorito.
That was a great segue. So I'm going to start with the fun stuff, and then I'll get to the boring stuff. I gave a shout out to High School Musical because I got to be a cool Wildcat at graduation ceremony, and it was an awesome, awesome feeling. I will say, though, that other schools do have 2 people handing out those diplomas, and Mr. Hubbard, or Dr. Hubbard, it really hurt my golf swing having to shake 400 kids' hands that night. So next year, I'm not at Wheeling. Okay, I attended the EdRed meeting on last Friday. Just a couple things more for the audience than for probably the people sitting here. Fentanyl education is going to be part of the second quarter 24-25 school year. Driver's ed, although you probably have your driver's license probably. Okay, it will include highway construction. That's pretty important. Also, climate change inclusion will be 26-27. Student discipline guidance will be required by the ISBE to provide guidance to us on Senate Bill 100 implementation July 1st, 2025. I thought that was important too. I attended NSSEO update. I'm now part of that group again. Ironically enough, they selected HYA as the strategic plan consultant at the meeting I was at. They'll be starting in August and September. They recognize Julie Jewett. She's a returning finance director for her 17 years at NSSEO. I've known Julie for 13 of the last 17. She is an amazing person, is great with doing a lot with very little, so she'll be a little bit of a loss, and there'll be big shoes to fill in NSSEO. Last, the continuous improvement end of the year report was given. District 214 and 211 has 37% of students enrolled in STEP, which is the Student Transition Program, which is interesting because the national average is 24%. So kudos to 211 and 214. They did an officer reorg. Thank God I wasn't selected. They just chose the District 57 representative as the new vice president, replacing Anna Klimkowitz. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of things. I don't know if the public knows this, but we do have graduations at the specialized school. I was here for all 3 graduations of the specialized school on May 21st, along with Dr. Rowe. And Dr. Rowe joined me at Hersey High School for the graduation ceremonies. Kudos to our industry partner. Every year we recognize our industry partners, and we did so at a breakfast again this year. Really appreciate all the industry partners that we have. And appreciation dinner, I attended here at Forest View for the community ed people that really do a great job with community education in a lot of fields. Just a couple other things. I don't normally comment on my quarterly meetings with the Illinois School Board Association as director, but there were a couple of things that was brought up. One thing, IHSA is looking at practice times, and I'm not sure why, but they said that football has quite a bit more practice time than any other, so we might see some ruling about practice times for other sports. And the other thing is we did renew the contract for the executive director. And lastly, I've been chosen as a delegate for the Consortium of State School Associations at their annual conference in March. So I will be representing Illinois at their delegate assembly. And that's it. So now we come to roll call items. 9.1. Closed session audio recordings. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm going to abstain for voting because I was not on the school board during the 2022 school year.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Palmer? Aye. Heineman?
Aye.
Dessling?
Yes.
Fiorito?
Abstain.
Welk?
Aye.
Kreutzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 501.
9.1.2, approval of changes to board policy. It was discussion last time, and now we're moving forward on changing policy. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Palmer? Aye. Dessling?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Welk?
Aye.
And Kreutzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
9.2.1, approval of tentative budget. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Keeley.
Thank you very much, Madam President. I do have a brief presentation for you this evening. Happy to field questions as we go through or do it at the end, whatever the board chooses. We are here today to review the tentative budget for fiscal year 25. That's the 24-25 fiscal year. The presentation will include a couple different sections here. We're going to go over the legal requirements, which is typical. We'll look at the budget cycle, then we'll get a firmer understanding of how we come up with this budget, some of the things we contemplate, and then we'll talk a little bit about some summative information. So the legal requirements to adopt the budget, just to kind of go over that, we do have to place it on display for 30 days prior to our public hearing. Our public hearing, as a reminder, is on the evening of the board meeting where we approve the final budget. That'll be in our August board meeting. We will publish the notice in a local newspaper. We have that queued up. Again, the public hearing will happen in August, and then we are to submit the board must adopt the budget by September 30th of each year. So looking at the budget process and the calendar here, as we know, the budget cycle never ends. Here we are in a couple slides up there, please. Here we are in that June to August timeframe. We're in heavy budget development season. Again, we met with the board in the spring to talk about the assumptions, the general assumptions for the budget. We continued monitoring the budget, and as we approach the June 30th end of the fiscal year, we're taking into consideration kind of the behavior of this year's budget and applying that into next year's assumptions. Again, we're going to discuss that this evening and move towards the final budget in August. So we're going to look at some assumptions, and we always like to say unknowns because we don't know everything, especially during the tentative budget time frame. As we get closer to the final budget, we really narrow our focus because we have more accurate data points. So from a revenue standpoint, as we know, the tax levy accounts for the majority of our revenue here in the school district, about 80% of our revenue, and that is tied to the Consumer Price Index. And with CPI being over 5%, the property tax extension limitation law does limit us to the 5%. So we are actively monitoring our spring collections. We look to see what taxes are collected for the 2024 calendar cycle through the end of June. And then we do the math and we apply that into our final budget as our fall collections for this coming year. We're also, of course, looking at historical data, and our friends at Cook County with their new software adoption a couple years ago that delayed our payments, it seems like there's some stability there, and tax bills were out a little more on time this year. One of the next large chunks of local funding that we received is the CPPRT, which is the Consumer Corporate Personal Property Replacement Tax, pardon me. It's a mouthful for sure. And that really spiked on the tail end of the pandemic as the economy revved back up. And now we're seeing 2 years of significant reductions as it levels off into kind of a more normal cadence, if you will. And then we always like to mention that we do have 20 active TIFs here in the district, and so for $11 billion of assessed value in our taxing geographical district, about 750 million of that is tied up in TIFs. Certainly we like good TIFs because it promotes development, and once that value is unfrozen, we see significant increase. And the good and the bad of having so many TIFs is generally speaking, there's some coming on, there's some rolling off, and we budget accordingly for that. When we look at our expense side of things, we are anticipating a stable enrollment. However, we do track students within different need and demographic groups to make sure we're applying our resources to those student needs. And in a couple areas this year that the administration has focused on for next year, we're looking at additional resources going towards campus safety, our English language learners. We've got some family outreach investment, as well as making sure that we're meeting our special education needs. In addition, under the special education, we are seeing an increase in outplaced student tuition costs. I know the state increased their rate recently, and we are monitoring that. I was at an NSSEO meeting this afternoon, and we were having a discussion about some of their capital needs, and so not included in this budget, but will get picked up in the final budget. There's going to be additional investment in the form of a one-time member contribution this year and next year to fund the capital work at Kirk School, the much-needed capital work there. And then, of course, we have our own capital needs here in this district that we're continuing to work as an administration to identify and triage those needs within our fiscal abilities. So we'll do a quick overview of our revenues and expenditures. Again, revenues, CPI capped our tax levy at 5%. The CPPRT is an estimate at this point. We do anticipate having the final number in August, probably not in time for our final budget. Our investment earnings are expected to increase, and as we dig into the budget, we're aligning those more with historical trends this year. Our registration fees, of course, are returning this year, and Our evidence-based funding remains flat at about $10 million. And of course, the pandemic relief money, the ESSER funding, is due to expire September 30th this year. So we're working with the Teaching and Learning Group to account for all of that on our June 30th expenditure report and ensure that we are fully getting reimbursed by the end of that cycle. So we have a nice graphic here showing the large portion of our revenue that comes from local sources. Again, 80% is coming from property taxes, 92% of our total funding comes from that, from local sources. And in this current year budget, we have about 3% federal. That'll continue to decrease as the pandemic funding dissipates.
Hey, Tim, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
The Bears situation, with them appealing their property taxes, and they're probably one of the biggest pieces of that 92%. Do we conservatively estimate what we think they're going to pay us, or are we just going with what they are supposed to pay us as of right now?
Our current estimates are, well, I mean, the long answer is yes, or the short answer is yes. There's a much longer answer that talks about how we are made whole when there are appeals, et cetera. And even though it is a large piece of property, we have $11 billion in assessed value. And so, you know, it's not a huge impact in today's dollars, but certainly those conversations are important as we move down the road.
Okay, thank you.
So looking at major revenue sources, budget to budget, and when just as a heads up, when we move into our final budget, we'll have another column in here that shows our actuals from this fiscal year. We'll have our books closed for 6/30, and that'll be a little bit more accurate look at that. So anytime you see large deviations over in that delta column, there's usually a pretty good story for that. In some cases, it has to do more with a recognition of how the budget's performing this year. In other cases, like our interest earnings, that's more a matter of looking at our historical interest and kind of truing up our budget, which hasn't been done in a couple of years. So we do, again, in local funds, we're looking to increase about 7%, and our state aid is going to go up. The biggest contributor there is our transportation aid, and that's tied directly to our expenditures in the transportation fund. And again, as you can see, would be a rather concerning number at the 34% decrease in federal aid if we didn't have the context of the ESSER funds sunsetting. So moving into expenditures, the salary increases according to the collective bargaining agreements are baked into our budget along with the benefit renewals. Our school-based budgets are aligned with student needs and based on feedback that we get from our building administrators who manage those. The buildings and grounds, that's our Fund 20, that continues to increase along the lines of what, you know, essentially the economy is doing to the cost of goods and services to maintain our buildings. And then our capital projects budget, that does account for our summer 24 and summer 2025 Grove, and then the Hersey student services. Those are all included in the budget. And then later this evening, we're going to be talking about fund transfer to fund those. And then food service is accounted for and aligned with current participation trends. We did do a survey, a student survey this year, Ms. Ferroli did, and we are working on trying to identify wants, needs, et cetera, in that program to connect to our buildings and make sure that we're delivering to the menu what students are looking for. The technology department provided their budget based on the current update and replacement cycle in the buildings. And then in transportation, we will see kind of a flat budget-to-budget number there. We do have some, what we, I guess, would call pandemic necessitated shuttles that are phasing out and sunsetting, and will result in some efficiencies and some savings, which will offset the annual increase of the bus contract.
Mr. Keeley, real quick on the technology. I know that technology was having an evaluation of their equipment and everything. Has that been completed, and is that what is accounted for here in the updates and replacements we had approved a while back?
So the technology audit is in progress,
okay,
and they
so
fast-tracked the staffing portion of it, which we had discussed with the board, and the remains of that audit continues. And so for now, their current known needs are in next year's budget. If there's additional above and beyond, it would have to be in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Keeley, I have a question. When I looked at the budget, I didn't see, and maybe you're going to get to it, proposed sale or the possibility of selling the facility that we were in while renovations were
That's a
going on.
discussion for later in the summer. We plan to bring that to you in the coming months, what you'd like to do with that property. We'll have a recommendation for you in August.
Okay, thank you very much.
So next we have a fancy looking pie chart, just shows our expenditures as we know. Just like on the revenue side, the majority of our revenue comes from property taxes. The majority of our investment is in people, in salaries and benefits, and that continues to be the case. And then you see the other categories there. The purchase services did decrease budget to budget again. A big portion of that was in the transportation area. So next we look at expenses by object. Again, this is budget to budget, and I will say that this story will be better told when we do the final budget and we have our actuals, unaudited figures for the fiscal year 24, so we can see that versus the 24 budget, and then it'll align better, I think, with the fiscal 25 budget. For instance here, if you look at the increase into dues, fees, and tuition, normally we call it dues and fees, we threw tuition in there because it really is a big portion of it. It's a significant increase, but what that accounts for, those are actual costs that are occurring that for a lot of outplaced special ed tuition that was not budgeted accordingly in the prior year. And so when we show the actuals, you'll see it will not be a 20% increase from actual to budget. There will be an alignment, and we've seen about a 10% increase over the last 7 years in that category for tuition. And so we'll continue tracking that. We're working with student services and teaching and learning to monitor that month to month into the new year. All other increases are in line with our known at this point. And again, when we get towards final budget, we'll see that tighten up a little bit.
Mr. Keeley, can you remind me, where is transportation in that? Is that purchase services or that?
Transportation is under purchase services, yes.
Okay. I was just surprised when I saw that it looked like it decreased a little bit.
Correct. That's part of it. The other big part of purchase services would be, if you think about the last fiscal year, the current fiscal year's budget for capital projects, from last year, we had winter projects, we had summer projects. We're going down about $7 million fiscal year to fiscal year just for the reduced scope. And a big portion of that, you have architect fees are attached to that value of that scope as well. And then finally, we have a budget summary that just shows our revenue to our expenditures as we assume right now today for our tentative budget. We'll continue working in the fiscal services on this. We are showing a $2.4 million surplus on the operating funds. And then when we bring in primarily our capital projects, and the other non-operating funds, which essentially use fund balance, they run at a deficit. All told, it's essentially a balanced budget with about $100,000 deficit at this point in time. Now, what does that do for fund balance? We'll provide that on the next slide. And as we know, the board operates. We operate on the board's white paper of 50 to 55% for our operating funds, and this current tentative budget, as it's slated right now, has us maintaining right in the middle of that at the 53% mark. If you add our non-operating funds, it brings it down to 52%. And I will highlight the capital projects fund right there shows a negative fund balance at the end of this year with nothing happening. Now, Ms. Palmer, you asked the question about a sale of a property. An additional thing in a couple agenda items is a transfer of funds. That hasn't happened yet. The board hasn't taken action, so it's not reflected here. And it's a $14 million transfer that would certainly offset and make sure we don't go negative there. So again, it's just a reminder that the tentative budget is what we have right now at this moment in time. I'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Board members?
You said, Bill, go ahead.
I'm always amazed at one chart you had that showed the major revenue sources. 40 years ago, I wasn't on the board then, But at that time, probably 40% plus, maybe 45% came from the state for funding. So they transferred that all over to local property tax. So now we're at 92% property tax, corporate tax, and interest income. Yet the state sends out on a regular basis, the legislature, unfunded mandates. That's the wrong terminology. We fund them. They pass the laws, we have to fund them. It's just crazy. And the things that unfunded mandates, I can't imagine how many there are a year that we have to fund. I wouldn't even know, but I'd like to know.
I think there's 165 mandates.
There's a lot.
I think there's like 165.
All right, 155, now that's 1 year, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's everything, that's millions and millions of dollars. It's goofy, it's crazy.
And there's that interesting Illinois Constitution that says the state should fund public education at 51%.
Yeah, well, that's, that went down the tubes 40 years ago when they transferred it all over to property tax. This is not against you, obviously, Ms. Keeley. It just aggravates me every time we go through this process to see how much locally we're funding, and the unfunded mandates, which we fund, come out of the legislature, and that's how they get their political power and that they get their political background going, so that they look good, we're paying for it.
I agree wholeheartedly, and Mr. Fiorito gave an Ed Red update earlier. It's always the first question we ask when we're at those meetings, and I was in Lend and DuPage before, is, okay, how much is that going to cost, and who's going to pay it? And so, as business managers, we often get called to answer that question and start computing these things. And some of them, it's just very interesting. When they enact legislation, I don't know that they really know how to enact it and how they're going to execute it, much less fund it. And so I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that's, it's certainly good that we have the strong local tax base to fund that. But, even with transportation, we talk about transportation is directly tied to the expenditures, but that's all prorated. We're getting single-digit percentage of what we should statutorily be getting in that grant.
I'll take a harder road on what you said about when they approve these things. They don't care because they're not paying for it. We are.
There was the debate in Springfield about funding student teachers. There was no...
Right, the ticket to everything in terms of a mandate is, will it be sent for appropriations? And like most things, that was not either.
Yeah, there was no appropriations for it. So anything else, board members? What do you hear in the pipeline for TIFs? Did you have something?
No.
Okay. What do you hear in the pipeline for TIFs?
Regarding?
Upcoming, I thought I read in the paper that Mount Prospect was looking at a TIF from the United property. That's the southern part of Mount Prospect where the fire protection district was. You haven't heard anything?
I have not gotten anything from Mount Prospect on that, no.
Okay.
I heard that through hearsay, but not from an official source.
Okay. I guess they're talking about it. Okay.
We will continue to monitor. We attend the joint review meetings in the fall, and board members do as well. So we'll continue to monitor and, of course, account for that in the budget.
Okay, so we'll get another presentation in August? Mr. Cayley? Yes, okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to approve the tentative budget. Please call the roll.
Heineman.
Aye.
Aye. Dessling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Rauch. Aye. And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
9.2.2, approval of physical education T-shirt bid. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just want to thank Scott for doing this, because I know, listening to some of the gym teachers, it's very important to be able to identify your students, and having a specific gym shirt to be worn by every student certainly takes away a lot of issues for PE teachers who might have 30-something kids in a class And if they're all wearing hoodies and everything else, it's hard to identify who are the 30 kids in my class. So this is much needed, and I think you guys did a great job with it.
I would agree with that, and I think for safety purposes also. Thank you.
Call the roll.
Palmer? Aye. Dustling?
Yes.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Rauch?
Aye.
Schweitzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. 923, approval of waste and recycling bid. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any update, Mr. Keeley?
Yes, certainly. This was a discussion item at the last board meeting, and at the time the bid was out on the street. Mr. Hoster in our department worked on this and was in touch with Jason Case, who's the CSBO at 57, and it turns out we're going to see about 12% savings by going out to bid. Now, you'll recall we had to reject the bids and go back out because the vendors put a ton of conditions on their proposals, which is something we've seen and I've heard from other peers. So we're glad to hear that Waste Management came back with such a favorable offering. And this is a 5-year contract with the option to renew for 5 additional years. So it could be a 10-year contract, and it is tied to CPI. So it is a very favorable contract for the board and the district.
Mr. Keeley, can you refresh my memory? So we put this out to bid, and then we had, no, I see only one vendor. So did only one vendor come back with a more favorable bid, or, because usually we see multiple?
Yes, Waste Management and Groot both bid the first time with pages of conditions. And then we did put it back out. We had a third party that was interested as well. They did not submit a bid. And then Groot's bid the second time around did not meet our specifications because they came back with conditions again.
Oh, they did, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Anything else? Call the roll, please.
Dustling?
Yes.
Palmer? Aye. Fiorito?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Rauch?
Aye.
And Kreitzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
924, approval of transfer of funds from Operations and Maintenance Fund to Capital Projects Fund. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Keeley.
Certainly. So this is a little bit of a different strategy. In the past, we've budgeted for about $8 million a year of transfer, and as we look forward to our additional capital needs and what our fund balance is, as you saw from the slide on that presentation, what we're going to start doing is bringing before the board before the end of each fiscal year a request to transfer enough funds to fund the projects that have been approved by the board up to this point. So as you recall, in the spring, the board approved summer 2025 construction with conceptual estimates, so we're running off those estimates. So the board is obligated to do those projects at this point. This is just a function of moving funds from our Operation and Maintenance Fund into the Fund 60 Capital Projects Fund to fund that.
So I think it was Ms. Palmer talked about, and you said wait till we approve this. So how will that change the tentative that we just approved?
It's just money from one column to another.
Okay.
It's the same money, just moving. So as far as fund balance is concerned, it showed Fund 60 going to negative 238,000. Once this is applied, if we were to give you an update in 5 minutes, it would show 13,600 some odd thousand.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Call the roll.
Rauch?
Aye.
Palmer?
Aye.
Dustling?
Yes.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Kreitzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
925, approval of accounts payable. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Dustling?
Yes.
Palmer?
Aye.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Rauch?
Aye.
And Kreitzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
926, financial statements. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been a motion and a second. Discussion? Please call the roll.
Fiorito?
Yes.
Palmer?
Aye.
Dustling?
Yes.
Heineman?
Aye.
Rauch?
Aye.
Kreitzer?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We're at 931. Can I have a motion to approve the food service salary increase?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kraft,
Have anything to?
anything to say? No. Okay. Dr. Rowe, anything?
Well, the only thing that I would add is that, it's a sizable increase, and it's a sizable increase with specific intent because I believe last year there was no increase to our food service team. And our food service team obviously, provides quite a bit and works very hard for our students every day. And but given that last year, we felt there was a bit of a market adjustment necessary. So this move will bring our starting salary up where in the ballpark of where the board is comfortable compared to our peers, and then our average rate of pay with our current employees to a stronger position, so that it's gives us an easier way of retaining our employees that are obviously valuable to the day in, day out operations of the cafeterias.
Thank you.
I'm happy to,
Go ahead.
happy to see the increase. I know that we have struggled over the past couple of years maintaining and having food staff come. So where are we at, or do we already have staff in positions for next year, or are we still in the process of hiring those, or could you speak to that, please?
Yeah, both. So we do have positions open for next year, really in all categories of our organization. We do tend to have more in food services, and so hopefully this will be quite an incentive to help attract and retain employees into the fall.
Thank you very much for looking into it.
Okay, we did have an addition, call the roll. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say the real story behind this increase is that we have valuable assets at all our schools. And these are people that go unnoticed, but they serve a strong purpose to all the young adults in our cafeterias. So it is important that we recognize and show that we value these people, and this increase does exactly that. They've been shortchanged, unfortunately, in the past, but we are rectifying that, and by doing so, hopefully we will get people that will serve in these roles that are very important to our schools. Thank you.
Anyone else? Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Dessling.
Yes.
Palmer. Aye. Rauch.
Aye.
And Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, we did add 932, a discussion item. Ms. Kraft?
Yep, Human Resources is working hard to transition some of our services from a company called Frontline, which has been called Apple Track, which has been called ASOP, it's been around forever, into Red Rover. This service will cover, we'll start with our substitute management at the beginning of the school year. It will then move into our time and attendance, which is for our hourly employees, and also for things like game supervision, overtime, those sorts of things. And then ultimately, the third module will be recruiting and hiring, which we will do last. So this is something we've had our eye on for a long time, and we've been with Frontline a long time, had a lot of patience with Frontline, and it's time to move on to a system that's much more user-friendly and intuitive. So we're really excited to begin this process this summer.
So what are the bells and whistles that Red Rover has that, because I'm familiar with Frontline, because I used it, so tell me about that.
So a couple examples I'll give you. So on the sub-management side, for example, for teachers, this is all app-based. And so when a teacher enters an absence with the push of one button, that teacher's top 5 substitutes can get a push notification on their phone saying, Kate Craft's going to be out tomorrow, do you want the job? And so just from an efficiency standpoint, the AI, the artificial intelligence used in Red Rover is helpful both on the management side and the recruitment side. So for example, when a candidate enters our system and uploads their resume, Red Rover takes all the information from the resume and populates it into the system using AI. So if someone's interested in a job, they don't necessarily have to go in and retype everything into any sort of application. On my side, I can submit job descriptions that we've written as a district into the AI in this program and indicate a new job that we want to have, and it'll spit out a job description based on how we've written them in the past. So From all user ends, it just seems to be a much better system. We have sort of sat back a little bit and watched some of our neighboring districts go to Red Rover before we did, because we have someone on our staff who is a frontline expert. And so we let them kind of work out some of the wrinkles, and just time and time again, I've heard how much it's helped in so many aspects of streamlining the organization. So we're really excited to make the move.
So this is a software that you'll be purchasing. Who is the parent company, or where are they based out of?
They are, where are they based out? I can't remember where they're based out of, Andrea. The people who opened Red Rover, the two men who opened Red Rover came from Frontline and were frustrated with, Frontline continued to get bought over and over and over again and became less user-friendly. So I can't remember where they're out of, but they've been incredibly responsive.
Okay.
It is a tech contract, and it does fall, our contract falls beneath the bidding threshold, which is why there isn't a bid before you to approve, if that's part of the question.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can I ask, what's the cost of Red Rover compared to Frontline? Is it comparable?
Yeah, Red Rover for all three modules will fall just under that $35,000 mark. And Frontline, we were closer to 50. So,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it is a savings. We have a two-month notice to Frontline to move away from them. So we have to string both of them along for a little bit until we're ready to completely move on. But
I'm a little concerned because 2 years ago, all our hourlies were on paper, and the CMA were the first to go electronic, and then last year, the ASP went electronic. Having gone through that, watching people struggle with going electronic, I'm concerned about going to a new system. So you want to talk about that?
yeah, and that's why we're phasing it in Alva. So we're starting with the sub-management, which has been around the longest. We'll move to the time and attendance, but when I was telling Frank about having this 2 months notice with Frontline, we're really going to wait until we're ready with some of this. And so we'll start with the sub-management. Our goal is to move to that as we get into the school year. But we'll wait and make sure we have a very methodic training plan. And when you see, or when I saw Red Rover and I saw how user-friendly and how intuitive it was compared to what we've been using, I felt a whole lot better about that experience. So I can assure you that making sure that we do this at a pace that our staff is ready for is at the forefront of our planning. And we don't expect that to be an issue.
I'll just say green sheets are next, and everybody's excited about them, those going away.
That Red Rover does tackle that problem for us.
When I heard you still were doing paper timesheets, anyway. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hope it works.
Me too.
Oh, so that was a discussion item? It will, okay. So we're moving on to teaching and learning. 941, approval of a resolution authorizing the sale of real estate, the Practical Arts Construction House at 2804 Fremont in Rolling Meadows. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, I just wanted to say how excited I am this time of year when we sell the house. I wanted to specifically recognize Chuck Jurassic, who's who really stepped in the middle of the year when our other teacher left to take the lead of the project, along with Dave Wiederzak. This was a 2-year project, and we have a video of before and after for the board to see in the community.
Awesome.
Here we are. We finished the pack house. It's been a long journey, but we finally made it. Let me take you inside and show you around. You can see we've opened up the entire floor plan where we used to have 2 rooms and a fireplace. We've got one big open space. It flows right into a big open kitchen. So we've completely transformed the space. If you remember, there was a gas meter right next to the front door, a lovely addition for any home. The whole space was all chopped up into small rooms. We moved the nasty old bathroom from the center
over into this little core area surrounding the stairs. In the original house, the kitchen was closed off from the rest of the living space. The trend now is to have that accessible to the rest of the living space so that you're not all hidden to do the dishes. We also moved the washer and dryer out from the kitchen and into their own mudroom. The original second floor layout was bizarre. We had a utility closet right in the center of the space that the hallway jogged around. A really nasty little tiny bathroom, also kind of center. Very small bedrooms, strangely placed. So what we did was turn this entire side of the second floor into a primary suite. So a very generous bedroom. We've kind of have a nook which is over the pantry. Might be a good place for seating, or put your bed out here if you like getting the sunlight. Down a small hallway. A generously sized walk-in closet and a custom bath. We put in a hall bathroom about the size of a bedroom. And then we have two very generously sized bedrooms off the side of the house with very large closets. Unfortunately, we had to remove the secret room that used to live above the stairs in order to open up that space and get some more light into the second floor. But I think we replaced it with more useful things. The kids did an amazing job with this house. It was amazing to see the transformation from fixer-upper to brand new family home. They did a great job with all the finish work and the remaining exterior work. It has great curb appeal, and they just did a wonderful job. We've got a new house over in Mount Prospect. We're going to get going on it this June with our summer apprentices, and we're looking forward to starting again.
Yeah, Chuck did a great job. Wow. They did a great job. So the district received an offer that was above the asking price for the purchase, and so we recommend the board approve the resolution of the board. The resolution of the Board of Education and adopt and approve the sale of the property.
Thank you. Board discussion?
Yes. When I went over and visited, I met with Chuck. I believe he was a student in 214 and worked on the PAC house when he was in school. It's really a beautiful place. The master bathroom is truly amazing. They did a great job, and he is so energetic and excited to be there. Even though he came in the middle of the year, but he's really a good guy.
He's been with us for 2 years, but the other lead teacher left mid-year, and so he's had to really take charge in the middle of the year, sort of with one less person, and they did a great job finishing the project.
I found it interesting that he had been involved with the PAC house when he was in school here. I said, well, why are you doing this? You've been in construction. He said, I want to give back. I said, all right.
Board members?
It's great that the overprice is going to the board.
I visited the PAC house, and I was there when a couple of the neighbors came by. And they said, oh, we're so excited, we've been watching this. And they were really, truly impressed. Yes. And I said, you know, we've been doing this for a number of years in different communities. And so they were very, very grateful. Dr. Rowe, do you have anything to add?
Nothing. Really, I had the pleasure of watching our students add, Laz and I were there when they were adding siding, and to see them and talk to them, and the pride that they show in their work was remarkable. So I'm really proud of it, excited to see what happens in Mount Prospect.
Yes.
And I love the garage.
Yes, it was beautiful. I'd like a garage that big.
I would love a garage that big. Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Palmer. Aye. Rauch.
Aye.
Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. 942, approval of school-wide Title I waivers. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Dr. Lopez?
Yeah, so school-wide Title I waivers basically allows the use of funds for the entire school. If the school population has less than 40% of poverty and above 20% and they're a Title I school, you have to request this waiver. We have 2 schools we're requesting the waiver for, Elk Grove and Rolling Meadows High School. Elk Grove, we actually believe will probably be above the 40% mark, but just sometimes that number fluctuates, so out of precaution, we're just asking for approval of the waiver for Elk Grove as well. Wheeling High School is above the 40% target that's required, so it does not require a waiver.
Okay, board members? Call the roll.
Palmer. Aye. Dustling.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Rauch.
Aye.
And Kreitzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
951, approval of Freedom of Information Report. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Rauch.
Aye.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Dustling.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
Kreitzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. 952, approval of Language Line Services, Inc., Interpretation and Translation Services and Related Services Contract Number R 210605, administered by the Omina Partners. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Rowe, you want to talk about this?
Mr. Maggie.
Mr. Maggi, I'm sorry.
So we continue to find ways to improve our services to outreach to families that, since we have 72 languages currently in our district that we serve. We've been with Language Line using their services since 1992, and that is a phone line service where it'll be live interpretation for individuals on the phone as you make outbound phone calls. By moving to a cooperative contract, we're able to optimize tremendous savings and also expand services. They do also offer a variety of services through video interpretation, on-site interpretation, as well as testing and training for staff. And so we're excited to move to this agreement once your approval, and then develop a training and rollout plan for these services as a starting point as we continue to improve. Really work closely with teaching and learning on this and the leadership of Dr. Gott. And so happy to take any questions.
Discussion?
Now, this service, is this based on our usage, or is there a flat rate? How does that
It's a
work?
permanent rate. Currently, we pay, I believe, $2.20 to $2.60 a minute, and that will adjust down to 64 cents.
Okay. That was a
So
nice-
we spent about $48,000 so far this year.
Okay.
Just on the language line service.
Okay, and that is through the phone services as well
Yes.
as potential in-person?
Oh, yes, currently, just for language line, we have solely been using them for that single service. We do have other providers that we can use for document translation as well as on-site interpretation. And so we are looking to see the most competitive rates and highest quality of services.
Excellent, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
Dustling.
Thank you.
Yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Palmer.
Aye.
Rauch.
Aye.
And Kreitzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, we are at the point of the meeting. We are going into closed session for the purpose of discussing the employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in an educational setting, or legal counsel for the public body, and superintendent evaluation and goals. Motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Palmer.
Aye.
Rauch.
Aye.
Dustling.
Oh, yes.
Fiorito.
Yes.
Heineman.
Aye.
Kreitzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. I think maybe 45 minutes?
Yeah, I know.
The thumbs up. Okay, Patrick's head's in the way. Okay, so we are back from closed session, and we have two human resources. 1111, approval of personnel transaction reports.
I make a motion that we approve the personnel transaction reports as of Thursday, June 13, 2024.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Discussion? Call the roll.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Dessling,
Yes.
Heineman,
Aye.
Palmer,
Aye.
Rauch,
Aye.
and Kreutzer.
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0.
11.1.2, Ms. Rauch?
I move for the approval of job description modifications for Central Operations Supervisor, Director of Human Resources, Director of Business Services, Director for Student Services, Instructional Technology Coordinator, and Marketing and Media Services Supervisor.
Second. Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Rauch,
Aye.
Heineman,
Aye.
Dessling,
Yes.
Fiorito,
Yes.
Palmer, and Walker. I'm sorry, and Kreutzer. We miss you, Lenny. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
And everyone said?
All in favor?
Aye.
Favor.
Thank you. Good evening.